On the bus to the college entrance examination, the campus belle Lin Chu publicly ripped up my admission ticket. Oh my. Don't the brothers hate her self-important demeanor the most? I ripped up her admission ticket. Let's see how she pretends to be in the examination hall now. The whole bus of boys burst into laughter. Even my boyfriend was watching the show from the side. In my previous life, I was so enraged that I immediately forced the bus to stop to get a replacement, even reviewing the surveillance footage and calling the police. As a result, Lin Chu was detained and became the only person in the class who didn't take the college entrance examination. But during the graduation trip, my boyfriend of 3 years deceitfully lured me to the edge of a cliff. With a face full of disgust, he pushed me into the abyss. Chu, tearing your exam permit was just to make everyone laugh. Yet you had to report it to the police and ruin her life. You cold-blooded vixen don't deserve to live in this world. Opening my eyes again, I calmly leaned back into the chair while watching the scraps of paper fluttering from Chu's hands. Tear away. Anyway, I switched my exam permit with my boyfriend's beforehand. Shreds of paper floated down from Lin Chu's fingertips. She shook her hand. The pink glitter on her nails glimmered in the sunlight. Ah, it's done tearing. The cabin fell silent for half a second. Then several boys in the back row started to clap the seat backs. Chu is amazing. It should have been torn a long time ago. Look at her checking her exam admission ticket every day. As if someone owes her something. Ha ha ha. I'm dying of laughter. Her expression is just priceless. Whistles, claps, and cheers mixed together, making the entire bus lively like it's New Year's. I lowered my head and picked up the half of the admission ticket that had fallen on the shoe. A tear ran through the middle. The exam site and seat number were perfectly ripped in half, leaving only a fragment of the character in the name section. I didn't cry or snatch. I simply picked up the pieces one by one. Lin Chu tilted her head to look at me, her eyes full of smugness. But after waiting for a few seconds without seeing me break down, the smile on her face faded. She stretched out her foot and kicked my calf with the toe of her shoe. Hey, Song Jixia, are you deaf? Everyone is talking to you. I looked up and glanced at her. In my past life, at this moment, my eyes were red and my voice trembling as I cried out to her in front of everyone on the bus, demanding to know why she thought she could. And all she had to do was snuggle up to Lu Jingchuan. And all the boys would rush up like a pack of wolves protecting their young. But in this life, I don't want to say anything anymore. Jixia. A hand reached over from the side, resting on my shoulder. It was Lu Jingchuan. He sat to Lin Chu's right. Half his body turned to look at me, with an expression that said, "Don't mess around. Chu is just joking with you. Don't take it seriously. I'll help you get it reissued later." His tone was very light, as if he were coaxing a naive child. Lin Chu immediately linked her arm with his, her voice sweet and soft. "Exactly. Brother Jingchuan said he would help you get it reissued. Why are you still sulking?" She turned around and winked at all the boys in the car. "Brothers, don't you think so?" Yes. What Chu said is all correct. It's just an exam admission ticket. Not like it tore your life apart. She just has too many issues. I placed the last piece of torn paper into the transparent pencil case and slowly zipped it up. Lu Jingchuan's fingers tightened, gripping my shoulder, and he lowered his voice. "Today is the college entrance examination. Don't make things difficult for everyone. Chu is timid. If you make a scene, she'll be scared." I turned to look at his face. This face I had seen for 3 years, which I once thought was extraordinarily handsome, now felt utterly unfamiliar. On the edge of the cliff in my past life, he also had this face, but the smile was replaced with disgust. "You cold-blooded vixen. You don't deserve to live in this world." Then he reached out and gave a gentle push. I leaned back slowly against the chair and uttered 2 words. "Got it." Lu Jingchuan sighed in relief and turned back to continue joking with Lin Chu. In the compartment, the boys surrounded Lin Chu, some handing her water, some fanning her, and some tearing open snacks to feed her. No one was looking at me. I lowered my head and touched the corner of that hard card in my uniform pocket. a barely perceptible smile curling at the corner of my mouth. The torn examination admission ticket in the pencil case had a name that wasn't Song Jixia. It was Lu Jingchuan. The accompanying teacher in the passenger seat adjusted his glasses and finally noticed something was off behind us. He stood up, his gaze falling on the transparent pencil case in my hand. His expression darkening. What's going on? Whose examination admission ticket is this? I hadn't even spoken yet when Lin Chuchu's eyes were already red. She suddenly stood up, her voice trembling with tears. Teacher. I accidentally knocked it down. And when I was picking it up, I tore it by mistake. I didn't mean to. As she spoke, tears fell with a plop, her shoulders shaking. And that look softened not just the boys, but even the expression of the teacher in the car. Accidentally. I lifted my eyelids to look at her. Zhao Lei in the back seat immediately chimed in. Teacher. We all saw it. It was Song Jixia who didn't hold on to it properly. And it got stepped on and smashed. Yeah. It has nothing to do with Chu Chu. She just wants to pass the blame on to Chu Chu. 7 or 8 boys spoke in unison, as if they had rehearsed it. Lu Jingchuan sighed, looking helplessly at the teacher. Teacher. Jixia usually loves to nitpick. Don't let her lead the conversation. Chu Chu doesn't have the guts to tear up someone else's things. The teacher in the car frowned, glancing at me and then at Lin Chu Chu, who was crying pitifully, her face like a wet flower, looking troubled. Song Jixia, what's going on? You tell me. I held up the transparent pencil case. The fragments are here. Just let the exam supervisor verify them at the exam venue. Lin Chu Chu wiped her tears, suddenly pointing at my backpack. Teacher, look how scheming she is. She's not even worried about her torn admission ticket. She definitely has a spare one in her bag. She just wants to frame me. A few boys immediately began to jeer. Search her bag. The innocent have nothing to hide. Yeah, searching it will reveal who's lying. If she's innocent, would she dare to show it to everyone? As soon as the words fell, Lu Jingchuan had already reached for my backpack hanging on the back of the chair and directly unzipped it. I stared at his hands. These hands had just held mine last night, saying, "Good luck on the college entrance exam tomorrow. And after you're done, I'll take you out for something delicious." He turned his backpack inside out. Textbooks, pencil case, ID card, a pack of tissues, all spilled onto the seat. There was no admission ticket. Lin Chu Chu was taken aback for a moment, then bit her lower lip, tears streaming down her cheeks even more fiercely. Then she must have hidden it in advance. It was intentional. She just wants to pin this on me. Where did you put it? Lu Jingchuan turned his head, frowning as he looked at me. Jixia, cooperate a little. Don't make things difficult for everyone. I watched as he rummaged through everything on my seat, putting each item back into my backpack. I don't have a spare examination admission ticket. Then why aren't you at all anxious? Zhao Lei leaned closer, his face full of skepticism. I zipped up my backpack. Not answering, Lin Chu Chu wiped away her tears, then nestled beside Lu Jingchuan, softly saying, "Brother Jingchuan, is she angry with me? I really just wanted to help everyone feel happy." Lu Jingchuan wrapped his arm around her shoulders, gently comforting her. "It's not your fault. If she wants to cause a scene, let her." The teacher in the car glanced at the watch, and the wrinkles on his forehead twisted into a knot. He took the transparent pencil case and held it up to the light to examine the fragments. A flicker of unease crossed his face as he turned to the driver and said, "Hold on. Let me contact the exam center and the class teacher." The moment the bus pulled over to the side, the cabin fell instantly silent. The boys still had smiles on their faces, but their eyes had already begun to glance at their watches. "Teacher, there are still 40 minutes until the exam starts." Lu Jingchuan spoke up, his tone relatively steady. "Finishing this up before leaving is still doable." The teacher in the car ignored him, took out his phone, and dialed 3 numbers, each expression worse than the last. Lin Chu Chu sat in her seat, burying her face in Lu Jingchuan's chest, quietly sobbing. "Jingchuan Gij, did I cause trouble? The teacher won't call the police, will they?" Lu Jingchuan patted her on the back. It's nothing. It's just a test admission ticket. At most, you'll get a reprimand. He paused, turned to look at me, lowered his voice, his tone firmer than before. Ji Xia, that's enough. You tell the teacher that you lost the admission ticket yourself. And I'll help you get a new one. Then this will all be behind us. On what basis? I didn't look at him. My voice was calm. Why should I say that I lost it myself? Lin Chu lifted her head from Lu Jingchuan's embrace. Her eyes red and her nose tip also flushed. Her voice trembled with grievance. Jixia sister, could you please help me just this once? You know what my family's situation is like. If this ends up on my record, I won't even qualify for the arts exam. Lu Jingchuan grabbed my wrist with firm strength. If you miss one subject, you can retake the year. But if Chu gets caught, her life will be over. Are you her boyfriend or my boyfriend? I looked down at his fingers digging into my wrist. He paused for a moment, his gaze flickering briefly, but he didn't let go. Of course I'm your boyfriend. But Chu is our classmate. We can't be that heartless. Zhao Lei in the back row suddenly stood up. Song Jixia, just admit that you tore up your admission ticket. Stop dragging this out and wasting everyone's time. Exactly. Is a torn admission ticket really that important? She just can't stand to see Chu do well. 7 or 8 boys were glaring at me in unison. As if I were the one who had torn the admission ticket. The teacher who was in charge of our ride hung up the phone and walked over, covered in sweat. Students, the examination center said that if your admission ticket is damaged, we need to go through a verification process, which will take at least 20 minutes. We're already pressed for time. He looked at me, his lips moving for a while before finally squeezing out a sentence. Song Jixia, could you possibly write a situation report first? Just say it was accidentally damaged, and we can deal with it after the exam. Even the teacher wanted me to compromise. In my previous life, I was already crying so hard that I could hardly breathe when I reached this point. But in this life, I didn't cry. I picked up the paper and pen handed to me by the teacher. And under the watchful eyes of everyone, I diligently wrote down 7 characters. Request to retrieve vehicle surveillance footage. The teacher was stunned. Lin Chu's expression changed in that instant. She suddenly jumped up from her seat and lunged at me, trying to snatch the paper from my hand, her nails nearly scratching the back of my hand. You, what right do you have? I sidestepped, and she missed her target, crashing her hip against the armrest, bending down in pain. Lu Jingchuan grabbed her. Ji Xia, what are you doing? I didn't touch her. I folded the situation report neatly and handed it to the teacher in the car. Teacher, there's surveillance on the roof. We can check it and see clearly who tore it. Lin Chu was clutching her hip, tears streaming down her face. But her eyes were fixed on that piece of paper, with a fierce intensity one had never noticed in my past life. Lin Chu didn't manage to grab that situation report. She squatted in the aisle, her hands covering her face, her shoulders shaking violently, her cries thin and long, like a little kitten whose tail had been stepped on. Jingchuan Gij. She bullies me. Lu Jingchuan crouched down, wrapping her whole body in his embrace, his gaze towards me sharp and venomous. Song Jixia, do you really have to make a big deal out of this before you're satisfied? The boys in the back row surged around, blocking the aisle completely. Zhao Lei's face was almost right in front of me. Did you hear me? You tore up that paper. Another boy reached out directly to grab the situation report from the teacher's hand. Teacher, what she wrote doesn't count. We all saw it on the bus. She broke her own admission ticket. The teacher instinctively took a step back, clutching the paper behind her. Students, calm down a bit. Calm down. No one listened to him. Lin Chu lifted her face from Lu Jingchuan's arms, tears hanging onto her eyelashes, rolling down one by one. She sniffled, her voice pitifully soft. Teacher, my home is in the village. My mom farms alone to support my studies. If I get punished for this, she will die. Her voice grew softer and softer, until it was almost a whisper. I really just wanted everyone to relax before the exam. I didn't mean any harm. A few boys had red-rimmed eyes. Teacher, Choo-Choo's family is indeed struggling. She's just lively by nature and made that joke. Song Jixia's family is wealthy. Repeating a year is like play for her. Why does she have to put so much pressure on Choo-Choo? Exactly. Her parents are both in business. Losing one student from Qingbei won't make any difference for them. Lu Jingchuan stood up, blocking Lin Choo-Choo in front of him. Like a shield. Ji Xia. I'll say it one last time, get that statement back. Tear it up. And let this matter end here. His jaw was clenched tightly, and his voice came out as if squeezed through his teeth. If you don't listen, don't blame me for not warning you when something happens later. I looked into his eyes. He had said similar words in his previous life. You insist on reporting it and ruining her entire life. You cold-blooded vixen. You don't deserve to live in this world. Then at the edge of the cliff. The wind was strong. His palm pressed against my back, pushing me hard. I withdrew my gaze and said nothing. The teacher in the car was trapped between two groups of people, sweating profusely with anxiety. He glanced at his watch and shouted, "There are still 25 minutes until the exam starts. If you keep this up, no one will pass." The car door was suddenly pulled open from the outside. The homeroom teacher, Mr. Liu, rushed onto the car with a grim face, followed by a uniformed examination supervisor. Mr. Liu. Lin Choo-Choo's eyes lit up, and she quickly wiped her tears and ran over. Mr. Liu. Song Jixia. Don't speak yet. Teacher Liu swiftly circled around her and walked straight to the teacher accompanying the car. Taking the transparent pencil case, the exam supervisor put on gloves and began piecing the fragments onto the folder one by one. The cabin was quiet, with only the buzzing sound of the air conditioning vent remaining. Lin Choo-Choo anxiously tugged at the hem of her clothes, her gaze flickering back and forth between Lu Jingchuan and Teacher Liu. Lu Jingchuan wrapped his arm around her shoulder, nodded at her, and silently mouthed, "It's fine." The exam supervisor finished placing the last piece and took a magnifying glass to inspect the photo area for several seconds. Then he pulled out his phone, accessed the candidate information database, and compared the details repeatedly. A minute later, he straightened up, his expression quite strange. He glanced at me, then looked at Lu Jingchuan, and finally turned to Teacher Liu and the accompanying teacher. His voice was very low, but the entire vehicle could hear him clearly. The torn examination permit is not Song Jixia's. It belongs to Lu Jingchuan. The entire carriage fell silent. Lu Jingchuan's hand, which was draped over Lin Choo-Choo's shoulder, froze midair. Lu Jingchuan's hand slid from Lin Choo-Choo's shoulder, and he lowered his head to feel for the inside pocket. The pocket was empty. He rummaged through the right pocket twice. "It's impossible." His voice was hoarse. "My exam admission ticket was definitely in my pocket. I checked it last night." Lin Choo-Choo stood frozen in place, her mouth half open, tears still wet on her cheeks, her expression vacant. "No, that's not right." She backed away, hitting the armrest of the chair, her voice rising. "I tore up Song Jixia's. I took it from her desk. I clearly saw the name." The examination teacher did not respond, but raised the assembled pieces towards the entire bus. The right half of the photo area revealed the facial outline of a boy. The name field fragments assembled into a complete Lu, while the remaining strokes were incomplete. This is enough to explain the issue. Silence fell within the carriage. The boys who were scolding gradually returned to their seats, while a few in the back row flipped open their textbooks. Zhao Lei turned to the window, his face flushed. No one mentioned the innocent will clear their name anymore. No one shouted search her bag. And even fewer shouted Choo-Choo is awesome. Song Jixia. The proctor looked at me. "Where is your admission ticket?" I pulled out an intact admission ticket from the zipper pocket of my pencil case. It had my photo and various personal information printed on it. I handed my identification to the exam supervisor, who nodded in confirmation after checking the database. The information matches. Lu Jingchuan swayed. gripping the backrest of the seat in front of him to steady himself. He turned to look at me, his lips trembling for a moment before he spoke. You switched my admission ticket. I did not answer. Teacher Lu grasped Lu Jingchuan's arm. Don't worry. The examination permit can be reissued. But you need to personally bring your ID and a photo to the examination office. Is there enough time? Lu Jingchuan's grip on Teacher Lu's fingers turned white. Teacher Lu looked down at his watch. Swallowing hard. There are still 20 minutes until the exam starts. And the examination office is on the 3rd floor of the main building. The fastest reissuing process will still take at least half an hour. Lu Jingchuan let go of his hands and slumped down on the ground. No. Lin Chu rushed forward, tugging at the invigilator's sleeve. Teacher. You must be mistaken. That admission ticket belongs to Song Jixia. She must have tampered with it. You need to investigate her. The invigilator shook her off. The admission ticket has a security barcode and a hidden photograph of the candidate. The system scanned and confirmed it to be Lu Jingchuan. If you have any objections, you can address them to the system. Lin Chu raised her hand, her lips trembling in silence. Lu Jingchuan turned his head to stare at me. His eyes red and the veins on his forehead bulging. Song Zixiawi, on earth did you change my exam admission ticket? I recounted calmly. During last night's study session, you took my exam admission ticket. He was stunned for a moment. I continued. You said you would help me check if there was any mistake in the information. Took it away and looked at it for 5 minutes. And during that time Lin Chu called you out for a bit. Then you came back and returned my exam admission ticket. I looked him straight in the eye. But what you brought back was your own. Lu Jingchuan's face turned ashen, and he opened his mouth but couldn't utter a sound, because he remembered that last night he did. Indeed. Take my exam admission ticket. Lin Chu called him into the hallway for a few minutes of whispering, and when he returned, he casually tossed the examination admission ticket onto my desk. Did you do this on purpose? Lu Jingchuan's voice was hoarse. You realized I had switched it by mistake, and you just went along with it. No. I shook my head. You didn't switch it by mistake. You did it on purpose. The car was silent as a grave. Teacher Lu stood in the middle of the aisle, sweating profusely, and questioned. Lu Jingchuan, did you or did you not tamper with Song Jixia's examination permit? Lu Jingchuan bit down hard on his teeth, fists clenched, and remained silent. Lin Chu continued to wipe her tears. Teacher, it must be a trap set by Song Jixia herself. She hates me and is deliberately preventing Brother Jingchuan from taking the exam. Enough. Teacher Lu slammed the back of the chair and shouted. Lin Chu, shut up. You tore up someone's admission ticket, turned things upside down on the bus by saying they lost it themselves, incited all the boys in class to provide false testimony, and now that something has happened, you say it was their trap. Do you think everyone present is a fool? Lin Chu shrank behind Lu Jingchuan, her eyes reddening. Teacher Lu took a deep breath and turned to face the exam supervisor. Could you please let the students enter the examination room first? I will take Lu Jingchuan to reapply for his examination admission ticket. And once it's ready, I'll bring it directly in. The exam supervisor interjected. Teacher Lu, I must remind you that the loss of an admission ticket during the college entrance examination is considered a significant examination incident, regardless of the reason. Reissuing it requires approval at multiple levels, which takes at least 45 minutes. He raised his wrist to check the time. There are still 16 minutes until the exam starts. I'm afraid student Lu Jingchuan will miss his first exam. Teacher Lu led the whole class through the entrance of the examination center. Lu Jingchuan was left behind in the examination office, missing the first exam. As I walked into the exam room, the bell for the start of the exam rang. The classroom was very quiet, and I picked up my pen with steady fingers. In my previous life, I was in a flurry because my exam admission ticket was torn, and by the time I entered the exam room, I had already missed the time for the first major question. But in this life, I hold the pen steadily. As the bell for submitting papers rang, I stepped out of the exam room and saw Lu Jingchuan sitting on a bench in the hallway. He was hunched over, covering his face. with the newly reissued exam admission ticket resting on his knees. But the first exam was already over. He got up immediately and shouted, "Jixia." I continued walking straight past him. "Jixia." He grabbed the strap of my backpack. "Did you know all along that Choo Choo was going to tear up the exam permit? Did you plan this in advance?" I yanked back the strap of my backpack and looked him straight in the eye. "Lu Jingchuan. You swapped my exam admission ticket last night and had Lin Choo Choo tear it up today. You two are the ones who designed this. I just swapped back what you took." He raised his hand to pause. His lips slightly parted and his eyes bloodshot. When they returned to the meeting point, the whole class was there. Lin Choo Choo stood by the flower bed, surrounded by several boys. Seeing Lu Jingchuan's unfriendly expression, she stepped forward and grabbed his hand, asking, "Jingchuan Gij, have you finished the first exam? Did the makeup test go well?" Lu Jingchuan forcefully shook her off, causing her to lose her balance and nearly fall. "Do you have any idea whose exam permit you tore?" He turned around and stared intently at Lin Choo Choo. "You tore it, and it was mine." There was a brief silence by the flower bed. And Lin Choo Choo then crouched down, holding her head and sobbing uncontrollably. I didn't know it was yours. I didn't even look. I thought it belonged to Song Jixia." Zhao Lei and the others looked at each other, just about to speak, when Lu Jingchuan slapped the stone railing of the flower bed. "Did you even take a look before you dared to tear it? You didn't even verify the name before taking action. You made me miss the first exam. Do you know what that means?" His roar echoed through the corridor. Onlookers leaned in and raised their phones to take pictures. Lin Choo Choo stifled a sob, hiding behind Zhao Lei for help. "Brother Zhao Lei, can you say something for me?" Zhao Lei sidestepped to avoid her. Lin Choo Choo stood frozen in place. She looked at the other boys one by one, but everyone turned their heads or looked down at their phones to avoid her gaze. Those who had just supported her all fell silent, because it was Lu Jingchuan's exam admission ticket that was torn, not Song Jixia's. If the victim is insignificant, they can join in the boisterousness. Once their own interests are involved, it becomes entirely different. Before the second exam started, Teacher Lu gathered the whole class to the preparation classroom. "I'll keep it brief." She scanned the crowd's gazes on Lin Choo Choo. "This afternoon, both the examination committee and the school had a talk with me. Lu Jingchuan missed the first exam, and his score is recorded as 0. He cannot retake the exam, and there is no right to appeal." Lu Jingchuan leaned back in his chair, silent and dejected. Additionally, Teacher Lu showed signs of fatigue. The examination team retrieved the bus's onboard surveillance. Lin Choo Choo looked up and stared straight ahead. Although the memory card was removed from the vehicle, the onboard system has cloud backup, and the examination team has reviewed all the footage. The room fell into complete silence. Zhao Lei rubbed the seam of his trousers under the table, and a few boys in the back row looked pale. "The surveillance footage is very clear," Teacher Lu announced. Lin Choo Choo picked up the admission ticket from Song Jixia's desk, held it up in the air, and tore it apart in front of everyone, while all the boys on the bus clapped and cheered. Afterwards, the teacher asked all of you. She pointed out boys who had spoken one by one, including Zhao Lei, Chen Bin, and He Hao. "You all agreed to say that the exam permit was damaged by Song Jixia herself. You have provided false testimony." No one in the room responded, and Zhao Lei hesitated to speak. Teacher Lu did not give them a chance to defend themselves. She spread several sheets of printed paper on the podium. "This is the preliminary handling opinion from the examination administration team. Lin Choo Choo deliberately destroying someone else's examination permit, creating an examination incident during the college entrance examination, resulting in the cancellation of all subject scores for this examination." Lin Choo Choo's face was devoid of color. Zhao Lei, Chen Bin, He Hao. The three named students stood up and banged on their desks. "You three clearly stated when questioned by the exam supervisors that the exam admission ticket was deliberately damaged by the candidate, which is seriously inconsistent with the surveillance footage. This constitutes perjury and interference with the investigation. resulting in a serious warning, and it will be reported to the Provincial Examination Committee for record. Will this affect admissions? Zhao Lei asked. Teacher Lu coldly stared without responding. Zhao Lei swayed and leaned against the corner of the table. Also, Teacher Lu looked at me. The examination office asked me to inform classmate Song Jixia. Everyone's gaze turned to me. Classmate Song Jixia has already qualified for guaranteed admission to Tsinghua University and Peking University through the academic competition 3 months ago. And her score in this college entrance examination will not affect her admission results. The crowd first fell into silence. Then a gasp emerged. Guaranteed admission. Zhao Lei exclaimed, astonished. She got guaranteed admission. In other words, Chen Bin swallowed hard. She doesn't need this admission ticket at all. Lin Chu stood frozen. She realized that the admission ticket was useless to me. What she really tore up was Lu Jingchuan's admission ticket. Lu Jingchuan sat in the back row, his knuckles white as he pressed his hands against the table. He looked up at me. Why didn't you tell me you were exempted from the exam earlier? If you had told me, I wouldn't have. He stopped speaking on his own, presumably recalling his previous actions. On the bus, he grabbed my wrist to prevent me from speaking and searched my backpack. He demanded that I take the blame and even asked me to repeat everything verbatim. Every time I tried to speak, he interrupted me. He never gave me a chance to speak. As soon as the second exam bell rang, parents gathered at the school gate. Lu Jingchuan's mother was the first to rush in, holding a bouquet prepared for a group photo. When she saw Lu Jingchuan, the bouquet fell to the ground. What's wrong with you? Why do you look so pale? Did you do poorly on the first exam? Lu Jingchuan lowered his head and remained silent. Teacher Lu recounted the events of the day. Hearing that her son had scored 0 for missing the first exam, Lu's mother trembled. 0? She demanded loudly. What do you mean by 0? My son ranked 3rd in his mock exam. Are you saying he got 0 on the first test? She immediately slapped Lu Jingchuan across the face. What the hell have you done? She grabbed Lu Jingchuan's ear. Your father, with 2 stents in his heart, is still working overtime to pay for your tuition. And this is how you repay him. Lu Jingchuan turned his head, enduring it without dodging. Lu's mother released her grip, panting, and turned to glare at Lin Chu by the flower bed. It's you. You're the one who tore up my son's exam admission ticket. Lin Chu leaned against the stone wall of the flower bed. Mother Lu approached step by step, and after standing still, looked down and observed. Then she scolded continuously for 5 minutes. From criticizing her upbringing and character to her everyday behavior and actions, Lin Chu crouched under the stone wall, covering her ears, crying and trembling. Zhao Lei and the others stood on the periphery. No one stepping forward. Lu Mu wiped her sweat and turned to see me. She quickly put on a smiling face and approached me, trying to get close. Jixia, Auntie was just a bit too excited earlier. Don't mind her. I heard you got recommended to Tsinghua and Peking University. That's great news. Auntie always knew you were a promising child. She inched closer. Jixia, look, Jingchuan got 0 in the first subject. Even if he does well in the others, it's hopeless. Aren't you two dating? You should help him. Auntie. I stepped back to create some distance. I have broken up with Lu Jingchuan. Her smile faltered for a moment before returning to normal. Just a little quarrel. That's normal for young people. Auntie will help you make up. It's not a quarrel. I met her gaze heated. Today on the bus. He searched my bag for Lin Chu, helped her come up with lies to deceive the teacher, and grabbed my wrist to make me take the blame for her. I rolled up my sleeves. The red marks on the inside of my wrists had yet to fade. This mark was left by his grip. Lu's mother stared at the red imprint, speechless. 3 steps away, Lu Jingchuan saw the mark. His face drained of color. The corners of his lips trembled slightly. I'm sorry. I let go of my sleeves and walked towards the school gate. Jixia. He took 2 steps to catch up. I know I'm a jerk, but could you please help me tell the exam committee? The admission ticket was torn by Lin Chu, not lost by me. I'm the victim. You're asking the wrong person. I didn't look back. You should go find Lin Chu. After all, you two were quite in sync in the car today. The events of that evening made the local news. The headline was quite straightforward. On the exam bus, the school's belle ripped up a classmate's exam qualification card. And the involved boy scored 0 in the first subject. All the boys on the bus collectively fabricated evidence, and the surveillance footage restored the truth. The ripped exam qualification card actually belonged to her boyfriend. The chain of campus relationships behind the Gaokao farce. The comments section is buzzing. What kind of campus belle is this? Flirting with guys all the way to the exam hall. The whole bus of boys are standing up for her. How much do they fawn over her? That Lu Jingchuan is something else too. Helping outsiders while his girlfriend is bullied. Only realized it hurt after his exam ticket got torn. Deserved it. Now he knows what it means to lift a rock only to drop it on his own foot. Lin Chu's social media account was dug up. And the previously flattering comments have turned into criticisms. I've locked my screen and no longer follow her. In the following 2 days of exams, Lin Jingchuan didn't miss any. His state during the exams was extremely low. Appearing on stage with a vacant gaze, it is said that he gave up answering his last essay at the very beginning. Lin Chu had all her subject scores cancelled and was picked up by her mother that afternoon. Her mother, dark-skinned and thin, stood at the school gate with hands covered in cracked wounds. Lin Chu was pulled onto the bus, and both mother and daughter broke into tears. Her mother cried while patting her back. You said you would be promising. You said once you got into the top class I would enjoy a good life. How could you do something like this? Before the car door closed, Lin Chu turned back to glance at the entrance of the examination hall. That was the last time I saw her. 3 days after the exam, Zhao Lei's disciplinary notice was posted on the bulletin board. The punishment notes the severe nature of his false statements. On the same day, his mother brought him to the school to collect his belongings. Her face swollen and red as if she had been crying for a long time. Passing by the bulletin board, she finished reading the punishment, swayed her body, and grasped Zhao Lei's collar tightly. Beast, your dad broke his leg at the construction site. Your sister dropped out to work to support your education. And this is how you repay us. You helped that little fairy lie. What benefit did she give you? Zhao Lei's face turned red as he whispered. Mom. Could you keep it down? Keep it down. Why didn't you keep it down when you were doing such things? Why didn't you keep it down when you were testifying for someone else? She slapped Zhao Lei 3 times in front of everyone. And he made no attempt to defend himself. When Zhao Lei left the classroom carrying his belongings, he saw me. He paused on the steps. Song Jixia. I ignored him and walked away. On the day the results were announced, I received a call from teacher Lu. Jixia. Your guaranteed admission has been confirmed. Qingbei Materials Science. Do you want to hear about the scores of the rest of the class? You speak. There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. Lu Jingchuan. 0 points in the first subject. Overall score didn't pass the undergraduate line. The scores of Zhao Lei, Chen Bin, and He Hao were ultimately not annulled by the Provincial Examination Committee, but their disciplinary records will follow their files. And both the independent admissions and early batches are all ruined. Zhao Lei's actual exam score was good enough for a 985 school, but now he can only apply to the ordinary batch of first-tier universities. And his appeals during the review period were rejected twice. Chen Bin scored even lower. He was originally qualified for Tsinghua and Peking University, but in the end, he went to a second-tier university within the province. His mother caused a scene at the school for 3 days before the security had to ask her to leave. Teacher Lu sighed. As for Lin Chu, all her subjects were cancelled. She has no scores. And her qualification for the art exam has also been frozen. I heard she went back home. She originally wanted to repeat a year, but the disciplinary notice follows the student record. And no school is willing to take her. I didn't respond. Jixia. Teacher Lu paused. You knew it would turn out this way, didn't you? I pondered for a moment and replied. Goodbye. After hanging up the phone, I sat by the window watching the street. The next day, Lu Jingchuan arrived outside the community, his face haggard and his eyes swollen. Ji Xia. His voice was hoarse as he called out. I looked at him through the fence gate but remained silent. My dad was hospitalized yesterday due to a heart attack. His eyes were red. My mom is at the hospital taking care of him, and she asked me to come and say sorry to you, and he pulled out a repeatedly folded envelope. My mom asked me to give this to you. I took it and unfolded it. It was a handwritten letter in Mrs. Lu's slanted handwriting. The letter summarizes 3 main points. First, it is an apology. Secondly, it requests me to write a letter of understanding to the examination committee so that Lu Jingchuan can clear his re-examination record. Finally, it inquires whether the quota for my recommendation letter for direct admission can be given to Lu Jingchuan. I folded the letter and returned it with a reply. I can't help. Ji Xia. Lu Jingchuan. I interrupted him. When you grabbed my wrist on the bus to make me shut up. When you searched my backpack for Lin Chu Chu. When you made me take the blame for her. Did you ever think of me as your girlfriend? He opened his mouth to speak. I directly pierced through his hypocritical thoughts. You didn't even think about it. Because in your eyes, Lin Chu Chu crying is a huge deal, while me tearing my exam permit is just a fuss over nothing. You spent 3 years telling me that I didn't even have a ranking in your heart. He finally lowered his head and cried. I'll change. I'll repeat a year. I'll go to your city. I'll listen to you about everything. That's enough. I closed the iron gate and locked it. You don't owe me anything. We're even now. But as for us, this is where it ends. He stood outside the door, tears streaming down his face and shoulders shaking. Yet I did not turn around. In September, I entered the gates of Tsinghua University with my luggage. New students around me were heading to the dorms in groups. Received a message from Teacher Lu while waiting in line to check in. Ji Xia. I have something to tell you. Lu Jingchuan has gone back to repeat a year at a private high school in the neighboring city. Zhao Lei went to a regular first-tier university. I've heard that on the first day of school, he was recognized by his roommate. The one who falsified the college entrance examination. Now everyone in the department knows about it. Lin Chu Chu has returned to her village. I heard from her mom that she's working as a stock clerk at the supermarket in town and has refused to continue her studies. I finished reading an EXI. TED the interface. The senior at the registration desk smiled at me after reviewing my materials. Materials science. Welcome. Welcome. You're this year's competition student. Right. Yes. That's amazing. Enjoy your university life to the fullest. I nodded in greeting and put on my student ID before moving on. Just as I passed by the bus stop sign, a vehicle happened to be pulling up. The car window reflected the silhouettes of the passengers. The scene of the paper scraps breaking apart on the bus flashes through my mind. I see Lu Jingchuan trying to dissuade Lin Chu Chu while joking with her, and the noise of the boys cheering for In Chu Chu. Then all these memories disperse. The bus pulls away from the platform while I continue on without looking back. There's no need to cling to the people and events of the past. Our separate paths will no longer intersect.